good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching from. Welcome to another episode of Original Conversations with Maryanne. My name is Maryanne Wanjoki-Buchi and I'm a multi-gifted psychologist, and I'm currently showing up in the world as a mental health show host, educator and entrepreneur. Welcome to another episode of Original Conversations with Maryanne, and I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for liking, sharing, subscribing, turning on the post notification bell, following us through with this series, and this is officially our 4th episode, and today we are going to be talking about original relationships. I am so excited because this is a topic that I'm very much passionate about, and I believe if we could understand or perhaps even master this topic, then it will be a game changer for us. It will be a game changer for our lives. So karibuni sana, and let us get into today's episode. Those who are joining us for the very first time, karibu sana. I'm welcoming people to this channel. Consider this an official welcome to the channel, and I want to encourage you, if you're watching this for the first time, I have created a playlist where you can follow through the 10 episodes. Season 1 season 1 has 10 episodes. This is season 1, so I want to encourage you, maybe as you continue with this episode, you can decide to either pause right here and start with episode 1, or alternatively finish this episode and then you start with episode 1. And today, like I've said, we are talking about original relationships, and the topics of which you already know I had already mentioned to you in episode 2 is that we are tackling the topic of identity, intellect, emotions, relationships, wealth, mental health, and life. And so, karibuni sana to today's episode. Today, like I've said, we are talking about relationships, original relationships. And before I continue, I want to start off with saying that relationships are what the connection that we have with maybe our significant others, maybe it is our parents, our siblings, maybe it is our spouse. There are different types of relationships, the connections that we have with people, people who are outside, of course, other people other than us, and there's also the connection we have within ourselves. So it's important for us to notice and know that one of the things that I always say that is the foundation of all relationships is the relationship you and I have with ourselves. If we don't have a relationship with ourselves, then it will be very difficult for us to have healthy relationships. And I'm not saying like having a relationship with yourself, it could be a negative one, it could be a positive one, but having a healthy relationship with yourself is like the foundation of all healthy relationships. Every relationship you will ever have in your life will start from the self, from you. And so the relationship you have with yourself is the foundation. And there are various types of relationships. There are relationship dynamics you have with, I have already mentioned some of them. You have with your romantic partner, you have with your friends, you have with your work colleagues, you have with management, you have with parents, you have with the society, with the community outside of you, the relationship as a business owner you have with your team. And so it's important to notice that each and every relationship is different, and every relationship dynamic requires a certain level and degree of wisdom and understanding so that you can be able to relate with these people. And so with that said, I want to mention something very also that is also key to our relationship with other people. That is the relationship we have. There's something called healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries, they are not walls, they are like demarcations to showcase. It's like, for example, if I buy a piece of land, and that land, when I go to buy it, I'm not buying the whole piece. Maybe I'm buying like maybe a quarter or half an acre of a land. It's not the whole land. So I need to know where my land begins and where my land ends. So it is the very same thing with boundaries. Boundaries is, they are not walls. They are just demarcations to showcase that this is who I am. This is the far I can go with myself, the far I can let you come into my space, and I can also allow you to have your own personal space so that you can have a healthy relationship. We can have a respectful relationship, depending on the relationship dynamic you're having. Either it's the relationship you're having with a sibling or with a colleague. Relationship boundaries are important, and it is important for me to also mention that relationship boundaries, as we are learning to communicate and learning more about boundaries and learning how to communicate those boundaries with the people around us, it is important to also know that it is important for us to also have healthy boundaries within ourselves. We are like, for example, a very valid example, that I, Maryanne, let's say, for example, you're watching this, and let's use an example of somebody called Kenyan. If you're a Kenyan watching this, shout out. Anyway, let's say Kenyan. Yeah, I've just picked a random name. Kenyan is he needs to maintain healthy boundaries with himself, and so he knows that either he does not allow himself to drink alcohol, or if he drinks alcohol, he knows the certain level that he's going to take. And that I'm just giving an example. Please do not get this out of proportion. I'm a psychologist and I understand the impact of alcohol, and we also talk about addictions, but that will come in later. So let's say, for example, if you're Kenyan and you drink alcohol, this is the far and as much I can take. Beyond this, I cannot take much more. Or as Kenyan, I have vowed to myself, or I am responsible to myself to make sure that I do not take alcohol, because I know the effects that comes with it. As Kenyan, I know I cannot hang out with a certain people, because I know these people will probably bring me negative. There will be probably negative peer pressure towards me, and so that is just an example of healthy boundaries. And with that said, I just want to share that with you. I know it is a very brief introduction, and I don't want this video to be too long. It is a very brief introduction, and this is just a series. This season 1 is just to give us a teaser on what to expect on this channel, and at the same time to also inspire us to start looking into these things, to start desiring to learn more about these things, these elements, to learn more about the identity, learn more about the original identity, intellect, emotions, relationships, wealth, mental health, life. And like you've had, like maybe you've watched the previous, I've already mentioned in the introduction, and in introduction, that is episode 1, and episode 2, I've mentioned what I mean by original identity, what I mean by originality. And so it's important for us to go back to that person, for the sake of, for the person watching this for the first time. Originality, going back to originality, is going back to the person we were before the trauma, the traumatic experiences we had in our lives, and they changed who we are, and perhaps even made us have a different personality than the original one that we had from the time we were little. And so this is just a call for us to embrace emotional excellence. Emotional excellence is a term that I came up with. I haven't had somebody else use that term, but emotional excellence is that self-awareness that helps with emotional intelligence, that brings forth that emotional excellence. The more we learn more about ourselves, the more we invest in personal healing and personal growth, then we become more self-aware. And when we become more self-aware, we get to learn skills like emotional intelligence. And when we learn emotional intelligence, then we can have emotional excellence. And that emotional excellence is what is going to empower us to have good relationships with other people, because relationships, healthy relationships, the very foundation of healthy relationships is having good emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence, it's not just something that you wake up to and all of a sudden you're perfect and you're showing up perfectly with other people. No, it is a skill that we learn over time. It's something that we practice over time, and we need to continue practicing so that we can become better at it, and we increase in something we call empathy. We are able to relate with other people and understand other people as well as we understand ourselves. And so with that said, I don't want to make this video too long. If you are enjoying the content that we are sharing here, please consider supporting us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. pressing on the post notification bell so that you are notified every time we drop a new episode. And I also want to encourage you to follow our series from the very beginning. Like I've said, we've created a playlist. I've titled it Original Conversations with Maryanne Season 1. You can find it right there on YouTube, on the page, our YouTube page. And also consider, following our series and joining, following me on my social media platforms, and also joining our WhatsApp community, which I call a tribe, where we are like-minded people who are working towards embracing originality. And also, with that said, I want to thank you so much for watching, and also encourage you to please not to give up. If you are just beginning and you feel like you're so lost in your mental health journey, then this is the right place for you. Then you can feel free to reach out to me. My contacts are in the description box. Feel free to reach out to me, and I will see how I can be able to serve you. And I will see you in the next episode, where we are going to be talking about original wealth. Asanteni sana. I will see you next week, Saturday, 9 a.m. same time, same place. Until then, originally, Maryanne. Kwaheri.